My name's Ava. I'm a Scorpio.
No. What's your last name?
Ava Combs.
What's your other last name?
Ava Barone.
Eva Baroni Combs?
Coming out. It's so funny what's happening with Diddy because this was inevitable.
Adopted and right child. I want you to tell them the story about how I adopted you. But you still have beautiful parents that...
It all began when Ava Baron Combs stepped into the spotlight. Hand in hand with Shah Diddy, Combs the world was introduced to her as his adopted daughter. But almost immediately, whispers of unease began swirling. Who was this mysterious young woman with a striking resemblance to Ava Grace Baldwin, the girl who vanished without a trace in 2015? And more importantly, how did she come to live under Diddy's roof? What seemed like a heartwarming story of salvation quickly twisted into something far more sinister, something that has left the public questioning everything we thought we knew about the music mogul. The resemblance between Ava Baron Combs and the missing Ava Grace Baldwin is undeniably eerie. Side-by-side photos have circulated online, sparking heated debates. Could this really be the same person, now living a new life, under a new name for those who remember the tragic disappearance of Ava Grace Baldwin? The pain is still fresh. She was only 6 years old when she went missing, taken from her home in Texas, in what authorities described as a custody dispute gone wrong. While her case grew, her mother never gave up hope. Then years later, here was Ava Baron Combs smiling, awkwardly at Diddy's side, but something about her didn't feel right. It wasn't just her appearance that raised eyebrows. Videos of Ava Baron Combs with Diddy have resurfaced, and they're deeply unsettling. In one clip from 2020, Diddy introduces her during a live stream, calling her his adopted daughter. She stumbles over her words, shifting uncomfortably. "My name's Ava. I'm a Scorpio," she says, her voice barely above a whisper. When Diddy presses her for her full name, she hesitates before giving two different answers: Ava Combs and Ava Baroni. The moment is awkward, as if she's unsure of her own identity. Her body language is stiff, her eyes darting away from the camera. At one point, Diddy kisses her on the cheek, and her forced smile barely hides what looks like discomfort. Was this a cry for help, hidden in plain sight? The questions don't stop. Their Diddy's explanation for bringing Ava into his orbit only deepens the mystery. He claimed he adopted her to give her the experience of having a black parent who could take care of her. But TMZ later confirmed there was no legal adoption. If this was all just a skit, as Diddy's team claimed, then why was Ava introduced as part of his family? And why did she disappear from public view shortly after? That video made waves. No one seems to know where Ava is today, and the silence surrounding her whereabouts only adds to the growing suspicion. This isn't the first time Diddy's relationships with younger individuals have been called into question. His history is riddled with unsettling interactions, like the infamous 2003 MTV Movie
Guys,
Awards
we are lucky to have Precious
underage
Miora here, and
actress
she's
Diddy
been at the
Chase.
Diddy parties.
In the
and
now
she's about to
viral
spill some
clip,
secrets.
Diddy congratulates the child star on her award before casually asking if she's coming to the after party tonight. The way he leans in, drink in hand, and laughs as she nods feels far from innocent in hindsight. And then, there's his relationship with Justin Bieber. Resurfaced footage from 2009 shows a Bieber spending 48 hours with Diddy,
Okay, so
who
basically,
cryptically
I was a
describes
Playboy
their time
bunny.
together
So a
as a
Playboy
15-year-old's
bunny,
dream.
representing New
What
York
exactly
State.
was happening during the
The reason why I
Cezo
need
cold
to clarify
bonding?
this is when you're a Playboy bunny, you are part of the corporation, and you are a bunny, and you do have a title, and you wear a uniform, but you don't get a month.
Moments Bieber have remained silent, but fans aren't so sure. It's because he has nothing to say. Adding fuel to the fire are the allegations of human trafficking and racketeering now leveled against Diddy. These accusations cast a long shadow over his entire empire, raising questions about how many others might have been caught in his web. Prosecutors alleged that Diddy has a history of using his power and resources to manipulate vulnerable individuals, forcing them into compromising situations. Could Ava Baron Combs be one of his victims? And if so, how did she end up in his world? The parallels between Ava's
to
case
New York City.
and the chilling
And I lived with
testimonies
Sean
against
Puffy Combs
Diddy
for a year.
are
That's the
impossible
crazy
to
thing.
ignore.
But Usher isn't
Take,
the only
for
young artist.
example, Diddy's infamous freak-offs, as described by multiple women who've come forward. These weren't merely wild parties. They were elaborate and coercive events where guests were reportedly forced into disturbing acts. One witness, known only as Jane, testified that Diddy provided substances to keep participants compliant and leveraged fear to maintain control. Jane's experience mirrors that of Cassie Ventura, Diddy's ex-girlfriend, who has also spoken about the shocking lengths he went to in order to dominate and degrade. The stories are harrowing and paint a picture of a man who thrives in power, no matter the cost to those around him. Yet, Diddy's behavior isn't unique in the world of celebrity adoptions. Madonna too has faced accusations of questionable practices in her adoption of children from Malawi. Critics have long speculated that her philanthropic efforts masked a darker agenda, with some alleging that the adoptions were more about image building than genuine altruism. Could Diddy have taken a page out of Madonna's playbook? Was Ava's sudden appearance a calculated move to soften his public image? Or was it something even more sinister, a way to hide her in plain sight? What makes this story even more chilling is the possibility that Ava's case isn't an isolated incident. If the allegations against Diddy are true, how many others might have been swept into his orbit, manipulated and discarded when they no longer served his purpose? The unanswered questions are endless. Why did Ava disappear so abruptly after her brief moment in the spotlight? Who were her real parents? And what role did they play
If you say
in her
the wrong
connection
thing,
to
or
Diddy?
you
Was she
complain,
actually
or
adopted? Or was her
I don't know,
introduction to the
there's an
world
element where
a
you
carefully
just-
crafted,
I
live
get
Ava's story?
manipulated in a way to make you feel like, oh, you have to please everyone around you. You can't say anything wrong. You don't want to say a bad thing, or when they're constantly asking you, would you like to do drugs? And you're like, well, I don't do drugs. And they're like, well, why don't you do drugs?
Story is just one thread in a much larger tapestry of scandals surrounding Shan Diddy. Come the unsettling similarities between her case and his relationships with other young stars
He
cannot
is
be
very,
ignored.
very,
Consider
dominant.
Usher,
Like,
for
he wants
instance,
to
who
control
was
the
sent to live with
situation. He wants to
Diddy
control his
while
inner
still a
circle.
minor
He
at the
wants to make
time.
everyone
This
have a good
arrangement was
time and enjoy his parties. And so, it is scary, because you think, this person, or possibly his social network or the people he's around, could make or break your career.
framed as a golden opportunity for the rising R&B star to learn from one of the biggest names in the industry. But years later, Usher's cryptic interviews paint a far darker picture of what really happened during his time at Diddy's infamous Puffy Flavor. In a 2016 interview with Howard Stern, Usher described his experience under Diddy's mentorship as wild and filled with curious things he admitted to witnessing, events that he didn't fully understand at the time, saying, "I got a chance to see some things. I went there to see the lifestyle, and I saw it. I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. What were these things that Usher saw? Why did he avoid going into detail? And why did he later admit he wouldn't send his own kids to a place like that?" These vague yet troubling statements
I don't know
leave
the
us with more
consequences of what that could
questions
have been.
than answers.
So I
Was
didn't
Diddy
really talk
exposing
about
Usher
it.
to
I
a
should have gone
lifestyle
to the police.
no
I should have
teenager
said
should
something other than to my agent. I'm just thankful that there was somebody there. There was somebody at that party who helped me, because I could have ended up in a really bad situation.
Ever part of? And if so, why has Usher stayed mostly silent about it? All these years, could it be fear, loyalty, or something even more sinister, keeping him quiet? But Usher isn't the only young artist whose time with Diddy has raised eyebrows. Let's not forget Justin Bieber, who spent what Diddy described as 48 hours under his wing. The now resurfaced footage of this bizarre mentorship shows Diddy joking about having custody of Bieber during their time together. He signed to Usher, and I had legal guardianships of Usher when he did his first album. Diddy says in the video, laughing, "Now I've got custody of Justin for the next 48 hours." At first glance it might seem like harmless banter, but with everything we know now, those words take on a much darker tone. What's even more unsettling is how Bieber subtly warned against talking about what he did with Big Brother Puff. In another clip, Diddy tells Bieber to keep quiet, saying, "Everything ain't for
so
everybody."
many people involved.
What did he
in
mean
this
by
situation
that? Was Bieber
works
being
the
silenced?
machine here?
Or was this just
Diddy's
an
obviously
offhand
the
comment
head
blown out of proportion?
The whole situation. The king of parties, but there is multiple other people involved that are helping along the situation, or participating in.
Either way, the tension in these interactions is palpable, and they leave us wondering what really happened during Bieber's time with Diddy. And then there's the chilling possibility that Diddy's so-called mentorship of young male stars like Usher and Bieber wasn't about helping their careers at all. Instead, could it have been about control by taking these young impressionable artists under his wing at pivotal points in their lives? Diddy might have been positioning himself as both their mentor and their gatekeeper. Was this a calculated move to ensure their loyalty, or perhaps their silence? And adding fuel to this already blazing fire are the rumors of incriminating tapes. Yes, you heard that right. There are whispers of footage allegedly showing Usher and Bieber at Diddy's private parties. These tapes, if they exist, could hold explosive secrets about what went on behind the closed doors of Diddy's inner circle. According to reports, there's currently a bidding war for these tapes, with some claiming that powerful figures in Hollywood and the music industry are desperate to keep them buried. What could be so damning that people are willing to pay millions of dollars to ensure these tapes never see the light of day. Behind those closed doors, it wasn't just Usher and Bieber who found themselves drawn into Diddy's world. Over the years, countless celebrities have been linked to his infamous parties each adding another layer of intrigue to his already controversial reputation. One name that repeatedly surfaces is that of Kim Kardashian, who reportedly attended several of Diddy's events in the early days of her rise to fame, while there's no evidence to suggest she was involved in anything illegal. Insiders claim she was a frequent guest at gatherings, where the atmosphere was far from ordinary. These weren't just your average Hollywood zoos. They were described as ultra-exclusive, with a strict guest list and an unspoken rule of secrecy. What exactly was being hidden behind those velvet ropes? I don't know what could. Another star with ties to Diddy's party scene is Chris Brown, who has often credited Diddy with helping him navigate the music industry during his early career.